Hey looters, Flutes here. Today I want to talk about the best feats for rangers, how to select them, and what my top picks are today on Flutes Loot. Before I get too far, there is a feat article for rangers on flutesloot.com. I'll give a link in the description and maybe a pinned comment below. If that sounds fun to you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you always know when we're coming out with new videos. So rangers, they are a bit of a mad class in that you could choose to invest in wisdom to buff your spell casting, but a lot of their spells don't actually need their spell DC to be high, so I actually recommend not worrying too much about the wisdom. You're probably going to focus on dexterity, and you'll see why with my feat recommendations. I'm going to pick feats that don't necessarily make your bonus action too busy, because your bonus action is busy with a ranger, especially based on one of the top picks I have for feats. And no, rangers are not weak. I've never really thought they were. I can understand people that thought they were kind of blah, but definitely not a weak character if you make a ranger. All right, so this list is actually a top 10. I was able to do a top 10 for the rangers. I know sometimes I have to go like subclass specific, or I have a smaller list. Honestly, some of the top 10 probably wouldn't need to be on your feat choices, but I'll throw them out there anyway. Number 10 is going to make some optimizers think I'm silly, but number 10 is tough. But it's the number 10 choice, which means you're probably not going to pick it. Basically, it just gives you more hit points, and it's usually better to do a lot of other things. But there's number 10. Number 9 is Elven Accuracy. I don't place it higher because you're not always going to be an elf, for one thing. But improving your accuracy with super advantage, as many people like to call it, is pretty nice. And you get to boost stats that are relevant to your ranger abilities. I also can't guarantee you'll always have advantage with your ranger. Depending on what subclass you are, you might not actually have a lot of mechanisms to gain advantage reliably without some teamwork from your other party members. Number 8, I just always come back to this feat because I like it a lot from when I played a tiefling, and it's Infernal Constitution. You get to fittingly boost your constitution by 1, and you gain cold damage and poison damage resistances. Cold damage is really important for a ranger because you're an explorer type. You need to survive, and having cold damage resistance means you also are acclimated to like high cold elevations, frigid water. There's a lot that comes along with cold damage resistance that I don't think you should overlook. You want to avoid getting exhaustion in those situations or getting disadvantaged while you're like shivering. Having that Infernal Constitution as a tiefling ranger would be very useful, especially if you're playing like Rime of the Frostmaiden or something. Like, trust me, you want to have cold resistance in that one. Now getting into some of the more feats that I think are more commonly picked and not just like my own preference or like a throwaway one like tough. We get to number 7, Mobile. It's important to be able to move away from enemies so that you can kite them just by attacking them and not getting opportunity attacked. And then the movement speed boost allows you to get out of range of their normal movement, so they'd have to dash to get to you, often using up their action, and then you just move away after attacking them anyway. So it makes you a very effective sniper. And yes, I'm going to focus on sniping as we get higher up in these feats. Number 6 is Lucky, which I've always treated as a throwaway feat, kind of like Tough. It's like what you pick when you don't want something else. But Lucky is more viable and useful to, for one thing, give you better concentration saving throws with your constitution. It does not stack with Elven Accuracy, because it does not give you advantage technically. Just keep that in mind. It won't boost your stats either, like Elven Accuracy could for you elves out there. Number 5 is Piercer, and maybe it's just because it's newer that I like this feat more, but because of some of the feats I'm going to pick later, you probably already know what's coming, but Piercer is going to be really useful to you for boosting a stat if you want to do that, your dexterity specifically. So really only choose this if you have an odd number for your dexterity stat. Honestly, don't like go from 18 to 19 with it. Don't do that. That's why it's kind of like in the middle as a number 5 feat, because it's really based on what your stats are. Otherwise, some of the lower ones like Mobile and Lucky might be better choices for you than Piercer. But Piercer is also fun because it allows you to reroll some damage and do some more substantial crits. It's just a nice little boost that can feel good. Number 4 is Alert. You want to be moving first. Don't want to ever be surprised. Especially if you're a Gloomstalker ranger, it's important to move early so that you can dish out some damage, potentially take out 1 or 2 enemies before they even get a chance to move if you go first. That's how impactful a Gloomstalker and some other ranger archetypes can be. Number 3, Resilience for Con and Wisdom. And this one gets tiered a little bit higher because I think pretty much any ranger can benefit from either Constitution or Wisdom saving throw proficiency. Gloomstalkers, however, will select Constitution, not Wisdom with this because they get Iron Mind as a subclass feature to already get Wisdom saving throws. Gloomstalkers are really good. And so because it's very versatile and can apply to many different ranger types, I put it up higher on my list. Again, the ordering is very arbitrary. Except for these two. First and second picks, you probably already know what they are. Number 2 is Sharpshooter. As a sniper, you want to be dishing out a lot of damage with Sharpshooter. You want to increase your range. You want to avoid partial cover. Sharpshooter allows you to increase your damage output so much, and as you're doing attacks as a martial attacker, you want that really bad. Like I've said in other feats videos, like it's so important to have like Great Weapon Master or Sharpshooter boosting your damage, unless you just don't want to build for like damage in your build. As a ranger, you get the archery fighting style too, so when you do your -5 to get sharpshooter damage to your accuracy, I mean, it's really more like you're getting a -3 because archery offsets that. And then the number one choice is Crossbow Expert. You always got to have that bonus action to attack, and when you pair that with Sharpshooter, it just really ramps up your damage. Yes, rangers already have a lot they can do with their bonus actions. This is actually a big design flaw, I believe, in 5th edition, that Crossbow Expert is so strong that when you make a ranger subclass and you make it use its bonus action for most of its good stuff, like the Monster Hunter, for example, it kind of shoots that new subclass in the foot because you're going up against Crossbow Expert. That's just not a fight you want to go toe-to-toe with. The Gloomstalker is a great example of why people choose it so much if you want a really powerful build, because it gains more attacks without using its bonus action, among a lot of other things it does. So it can use Crossbow Expert, the main way to gain damage as a martial class in 5th edition, paired with Sharpshooter. And so Crossbow Expert, I can't deny that it's like the best one you could pick as a ranger. Pair it with Sharpshooter, those are the top two. That's really the only list that I didn't want to say top 2 ranger feats. I wanted to give some other examples of what I think you should pick, but it really comes down to those two, and then it's like whatever you want. And I firmly believe that Hunter's Mark really can't compete with Crossbow Expert when it's paired with Sharpshooter because you gain so much more damage. It's better to gain flat bonuses and more attacks than to just get an extra die on your attacks. And if you have to keep using your bonus action to move it, even worse. If you're going up against like a dragon, maybe cast Hunter's Mark and then start firing, because the math might work out where over a lot of time and a lot of attacks, Hunter's Mark might have been worth your bonus action in round 1. So what would you pick for your ranger, or what have you picked for your ranger that you've enjoyed, or what have you regretted even? We have a lot of lore videos that Opal puts out, and I do stuff about improv and other topics that interest me. Sometimes I go deep into spells I like the Dream spell. I highly recommend that video. You rangers, keep ranging. Bye.